dated May 18th, if you want to go from there.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to the letter. I emailed this to you guys around in the 4 o'clock hour. Did you happen to have a chance?
Just seen it now.
All right. Give you a minute to
Yeah,
review it.
419.
So to carry on from where Ms. Dare was at, this comparison of the bids reveals the most anticipated competitively priced quote to be through Sarsic Excavating. Please keep in mind the final project costs may vary significantly from the estimate based upon actual subsurface conditions encountered and methods implemented by the contractor. Based on this review, we would recommend awarding this project to Sarsic Excavating as a time and materials contract as per their quoted rates. Upon the board's authorization, we will coordinate the necessary contract documents in order to issue a notice to proceed. So, yeah, as Mr. Spar alluded to, there is the caveat that the price could vary significantly, and as with the slide, you need to dig down until you reach competent subgrade that is not saturated with water and build up from that. So, you know, without having geotechnical borings done at the project site, it's difficult to estimate it. But you know, it's something we would be able to supervise being on site when we reach that point and go from there.
So I see here we have estimates from 3 of the bidders, and it is J. Stewart, Slusarchek, and Stranisha. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and at the bottom of this page, I'm seeing total estimates for bid evaluation only. Final price will vary based on actual work completed, subsurface conditions, and T&M costs. The available start date, what we have, number 1, J. Stewart said 5/23/2022. Slusarchek, 3 days from NTP. What's NTP?
That's the notice to proceed. So,
Okay.
and that's because the contractors are required to do a one call. So, all contractors, once they have that notice to proceed, they'd all need at least 3 days before they could get in there and start digging.
Okay. And then Stranisha has 5/27/2021, or excuse me, 2022.
Yeah, I believe that's the following Friday.
Okay. Please, any other supervisor questions or thoughts on these?
Yeah, sure. So, just to hash that out a little bit more, we obtained time and materials quotes from the contractors, and then we put the units from our estimate with what they gave us, as well as applied. They all said it would take them 2 weeks to do the work. So the most used equipment and laborers, so we applied 80 hours to all those rates to come up with basically a level playing field for each of them to look at. So that's where we got a number for Slusarchek that was less than J. Stewart and Stranisha.
So where is the bottom line number, Sean? Am I missing that? Is that on page 2?
It's all based off of time and materials, so it will be tracking what they put into the ground as well as their manpower and equipment as far as how much time it takes them to complete the job.
But where's the totals? Am I missing those totals? Is that on the second page here?
There's an estimated total on the second page at the bottom.
Okay, so that's at the last number at the bottom of the second page, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I see now. So that's where you came to recommend Slusarchek at the $94,273,
That's correct.
60 days.
So, did Jamie go up and look at how did you come up with the scope of the work?
Jamie went up to the project site, and that's where we determined that it'd be better for a contractor to take care of the project rather than the road crew. And then we put together together the print sheet with time and materials. We put together a detail sheet, which sent to you guys,
Yeah,
I believe earlier in the week or last week. Just,
I got one yesterday with the drawings and stuff on it.
correct. So, looking at those drawings as well as the LiDAR topography to get a height for that hillside and just applying those figures into the detail into Excel, we came up with an estimate, which is where we sent the $89,000 estimate to you guys. And then using those numbers, we put those into the contractor's quote.
And if I may, Michelle, I did communicate with Sean about some of the concerns you had farther up from your site visit. And basically, and please jump in here, because I assume this is what you're alluding to.
No, I just was wondering, because, you know, I'm
Right.
not an engineer, I just wanted to know, like, how they came up with how long, how Jamie went up there.
Yeah, Jamie was there and basically looking at the slide material is about 45 feet wide. So that was the area that we were looking to repair.
Okay.
Yeah, I did hear some concerns about areas up from it, possibly also experiencing sliding conditions. Talked to Jamie about that, and what he recommended is, you know, if we want to, we could enlist a geotechnical engineer to go out there and give us some ideas. Maybe we could drive some piles in those areas if it isn't stable to try to stabilize it.
Do you guys have any ideas on, like, maybe what's causing it?
Yeah, so
It looks like a lot of factors to me,
Yeah.
but again, I'm not an engineer, but.
it's definitely water.
Mhm.
So the water saturates the soil, makes it weak, and then it wants to basically fall off the chunk. Looking at what we could see, that there's a lot of guesses as far as what's causing it. There's definitely not a definite.
One definite
Um,
factor.
My understanding is at some point the road crew piped a spring that goes into the catch basin across the street, so that's adding water into the storm sewer system. Also, that storm sewer, at least the section that failed, don't know about the rest of it, but the section that failed, that storm sewer was perforated pipe. So that water was coming into the system and also leaving it through that pipe into that hillside.
I figured, like, I just didn't know if any corrective measures to maybe not needed to be put in the bid as well. I noticed that, well, one thing, I did take a picture for the rest of the board. It appears that the railroad cleaned that bank on the other side recently. Took everything off, cut into the, I didn't know if that maybe had some contributing factor to why it went now.
After the slide, I know the railroad company was notified, so anything that they thought was impacting their rail line, they went out there and shoveled off
Well,
that
this
loose
has
dirt.
some growth on it that looked to be about a month old, but it looked like somebody cut it maybe a month or so ago. It grew some light weeds, but they definitely cut out, this is from down below, this
Yeah,
hill.
Sean, I think she's talking about that whole
This is where the
stretch.
slide is. That
Right.
whole stretch has been cleaned out, leaving no roots, no trees, no bushes. I didn't know if this had a contributing factor to why it went now. They were actually hauling dirt while we were there.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, I also noticed that there was on that video, there was a repair or a French drain that was cut and stopped right maybe 10 feet before this is where the road gave out. That's that French drain.
Yeah, so this rock channel comes up along the road, which is what I understand they put in to pick up
Catch water from here.
the spring, correct. So then that, all this water is coming into the pipe, coming down to the next one, and this is that section of perforated pipe where it did give out at.
I saw on the Harshman bill that they had taken a video of the road back in June of 2021. So I asked Sean if he'd send it to me, and I just freeze framed a couple of parts of it that looked like there was possibly a small repair around that culvert before.
Yeah, it looked like in that video there was some cold patch that was put on it. I don't know the history of what occurred there, whether it was just
I could see some cracking right where, this is right Where's it went?
And so if there's, and if I may hear, there's, you know, opportunity for sure to explore some of these things further, like if you wanna put this on the next agenda and we wanna talk about this more,
Yeah.
absolutely. But, you know, hopefully we can get something started here.
I was just trying to figure out the factors that contributed to it, so as we repair it, we're not repairing it for the factors that continue.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely water, and with the repair we have proposed with stone, it's gonna be free draining. So any water
Okay.
that was a problem won't continue to be. It's gonna be able to drain through that stone, no problem, and that stone will support the road. As far as areas up or down from it, I mean, those are gonna be problem areas, but
And I understand there's no, till you're into it, you can't really, but do you guys have a pretty confident feel that this is relatively close to the extent of it?
yeah, I'd definitely say, definitely say our estimate is what we think is what was gonna be required to fix this problem. And then, of course, we could keep you updated along the way of what's found out there.
So this is relatively realistic.
I believe so, yes.
So I think we've kind of moved into item 2, discuss awarding the Patterson Road slide repair project. Based on the bid documents in front of us, is there any considerations the board that's here needs to really identify before we consider your recommendation of a contractor? Anything else we need to consider in these time and material quotes in our packets?
No, I don't think so. I mean, all the contractors were, as the letter states, qualified. They all are proposing around the same time. Their prices are all similar, especially J. Stewart and Sluice R6. Sternisha was a bit higher. I don't think you'd go wrong awarding it to any of the three. But just putting the numbers together, it seemed like Sluice R6 was a lower rate than the rest of them.
So say he did his run calls in a day or two, he could proceed possibly by the end of the week. Would he work over the weekend, meaning that this is an extreme emergency?
I need to talk with them about that, but, you know, when I did talk to them on the phone, and I met these contractors out at site too, other than Sternisha, they went out there over the weekend. So the Sarsic thinks it'll probably only take about a week and a half of work, and then he put 2 weeks in there just in case something comes up. The biggest thing's gonna be weather. They're not gonna wanna start, none of them are gonna wanna start digging if, it's downpours, so.
My only concern is the start date, and having a contract that is open-ended on start, being that we know this is a big emergency and it could get bigger at any point. So I don't know, is there any provisions in any of this that would ensure they start?
Yeah, I sent them all over a sample contract. There's, liquidated damages, I think it calls out 21 days is, you know, basically as long as we think the project should go on, but,
Nothing on a start date in the contract like that?
start date, I believe the contract says 2 days after the notice to proceed, so if it's awarded tonight, I'll be touching base with the contractors tomorrow, letting them know who got it, who didn't get it, and whoever I talked to that was awarded the job, I'll let them know, put that one call in ASAP, even though they don't have the notice to proceed. There's a little bit of housekeeping items that need to be done before we give them the notice to proceed. We need to get the signed contract from them. We need to verify that Harshman and the township are added to their insurance as co-insured, check their workman's comp insurance, and at that point, we could issue them the notice to proceed. So that should get that one call already started before the notice to proceed.
Based on whoever the board picks, will it also, so you will help with that housekeeping measures to keep pushing the whole project along quickly to make sure that everything's being done?
Correct.
That's my big concern. Okay, that's all I had. Any other thoughts from other board members?
I just had one more question. If this job ends up being, once you get into it, if it ends up being bigger, can each, whatever one we pick, do you think that these companies can handle it if it gets any bigger?
Yeah, all three of them are qualified, and yeah, if they were doing the slides along Cold Bluff Road, I wouldn't have any issue with those. Those are all big slides.
Supervisor Trax, you still on with us? Any questions?
No, I'm good, Heather. I think, we're very qualified engineers, and, I'd go with whatever they suggest.
Okay. Alrighty, so we're moving on to item 3. Am I jumping ahead? Everybody else, please, questions? Okay, item 3, approve